of our open enrollment options, any changes, and then we'll have plenty of time for questions at the end. So Brandon and Mandy, over to you guys.
All right. Well, thank you, Tiffany. Appreciate you having us come in, and good morning, everybody.
Too bad. How about you?
Can I first ask everybody if they would put mute? That would help the presentation. And just a couple logistics. If you have a question, we're happy to answer those. So either you can put it into the chat and we'll be looking at those questions as we go, or we'll try to have a few minutes at the end for a Q&A. I am Brandon, and this is Mandy, who's to my left. And the best way to remember us is Team Brandy. That's what we're rolling with. We've been together for quite a while. We're with CapFi Consulting. What we do is we are benefit consultants. So we review all of your employee benefits, and then we go out to the market to see what's the most competitive benefit package, both with benefits and also with rates. And it does take quite a bit of a process. Usually about 6 months into the year, we start looking at it. And so there's a lot of research and this decision-making that goes into it. All right, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go through the presentation. Okay, so this is what we call open enrollment. It's an exciting time of the year, but what's even more exciting is that it is March Madness and it begins today. This is one of the craziest times of the year, and so we're going to kick it off with a drawing. If you are the first 5 who enroll in Employee Navigator, and we'll explain Employee Navigator, what to do there, you'll be entered into a drawing for a $75 gift card to anywhere you want. So as soon as we're done, hurry up and go get into Employee Navigator. In fact, Mandy, is it going to be available yet? Oh, okay.
Calm down with your March Madness.
All right,
It's coming out. The email will come out to you at noon. We'll go into the details later, but don't look right now. It's not there.
All right, then go watch a few games and then come back and
yes.
Do it. Okay. All right. So I want to show our agenda here for what we're going to review. Let me just get the slide to move here. So open enrollment will begin March 16th and closes March 27th. That is the time for you to choose. We're going to show you the options. We are remaining with 2 plan choices there. And you have until the 27th to pick what plan. And then also if you want to add or remove a dependent, this is that time of the year. We are staying with Cigna, which is good news. We were able to negotiate on the renewal. I will tell you that 2023 has been a very painful renewal year. A lot of costs through post-COVID, and just claims came through in 21 and 22. And so the market has been given double digits in renewals. We were able to negotiate where we can keep Cigna and the 2 plans that are offered, and we're going to go through those. So you have the HSA plan. We did have to make some slight changes there on the benefits. And then also we have our choice plan, which is a copay plan that we'll go through. And then we're also remaining with Cigna on dental and vision. And we're going to go through a few resources to help you navigate through employee benefits. We know it's difficult, and so we want to share a few resources that hopefully make your life a little bit easier. On the third-party administrator stuff, that would be the flexible spending account, the dependent care. That's remaining with Paylocity. We'll give you a few reminders on that. And then your HSA bank accounts remain with HSA Bank. And also we were going to hit on just that you're aware there are some investment options that you can put your money into. And then Colonial, we'll go through that. We've invited the Colonial Life rep, Margaret, She'll spend a few minutes explaining those. And then we'll end with Employee Navigator on how to enter your benefits into that portal.
Brandon, we've got a couple people that are waiting to be admitted.
Thank you.
They're in the lobby. Thank
All
you.
right. I guess we'll let them. There we go. So what I have right here is what we call our employee handout. I'm not going to go through this in detail, but you will receive a copy of this where you'll be able to see your costs, which basically, again, I have to stop and give kudos to pension plan specialists because we are showing you the cost of the two plans and your cost is zero. This is becoming unheard in the marketplace. In fact, I can count on one hand how many clients that we have that pay 100% of both employee and dependent. This is rare at this point. So hopefully you recognize that and have gratitude that you don't pay anything on either plan. I will show you here in a minute the reason why you want to pick maybe the HSA is because Pension Plan Specialist also does an HSA contribution. And so you may want to choose that so that you can have an account that receives contributions and use those for medical expenses. This also shows you your dental costs there. So for dependents, you do need to pay, but for employee, it's 100% paid. Vision's 100% paid on employee and dependent. And we'll go through these benefits too.
Brandon, we're still seeing your agenda. I'm thinking the handout might be on your other screen, perhaps.
Thank you for letting me know that. Let me just admit these people. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing real quick and redo this. Sorry about that. Let's try this again. What are you seeing right now?
Still agenda.
Agenda. Yeah.
Oh boy, this is this usually doesn't do this. Let me get back into PowerPoint. Okay. You're seeing the agenda still?
No, not sharing at all right now.
Okay.
Just the Brady Bunch squares.
We could sing that song just during this brief intermission if you'd like. I could start around to that, but
wow, this is weird. Okay, 1 second. Sorry about that. Let me I think what happened is it's duplicating the slide. Okay, let me see here. What do you see now? Nothing?
No, not sharing yet.
Okay, so let me see if I share this. Okay, what do we have now?
HSA, your health plan, plus a health savings.
Okay.
account.
now we see
Now you
the,
see the, okay, now let me just.
it's just not in the slide form. It's in
Yeah, let
the,
me-
You go to the bottom right hand, there should be a selection.
Yeah,
down
I
there.
know, but it goes, what's happening is it's going to my screen and not the, let me
Yeah.
just.
And Brandon, I don't know if you had information on the slides between the agenda and this one, but we did not get to view those, just a heads up.
Thank you. All right, well, I'm just gonna go into more of a, let's see if I can get this into. Yeah, what it's doing is when I do the slide presentation, it's going over to my screen. Let's just go right here.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. All right, so really you didn't miss anything other than it's covered 100% for medical, both employee independent. This is just the one pager that I was referring to. And then the dental and vision as well. Your dental costs for your dependents are there. And then your vision costs are covered 100%. And I'm going to go through the benefits of each of these in a minute. Flexible spending account, you have up to $3,050 to contribute for the year into the flexible spending account. But as a reminder, if you're in the HSA, the IRS does not allow you to do both. You have to do one or the other. And then dependent count is the $5,000 that you can contribute pre-tax. But I do want to take the time here to show you the HSA contributions, which are super generous. So the company, Pension Plan Specialist, is contributing for each employee for the year $2,050. And then for an employee plus spouse, $4,200. Employee plus children, $3,900, and employee plus family, $6,400. Next to that, you'll see the maximum that the IRS allows for the year. And so you can contribute the difference from the company's contribution up to the limit. And then those that are over the age of 55, you can do more, $1,000 more a year into your HSA contribution. Okay, so now into the medical benefits with Cigna. So again, you've got two options here. You can go into their HSA plan. The deductible is changing. It's going from $4,000 to $5,000 for the individual, and then to $10,000 for a family. Your out-of-pocket is going up $1,000 as well. So it is now $6,000 an individual, and then it's going up $2,000 for the family, for $12,000 for the year. As a reminder, once you hit your deductible for the year, then the co-insurance kicks in. And once you hit your out-of-pocket, you're then covered 100%. So in that window of the deductible and you're out of pocket, you're paying a co-insurance on benefits that is 10%, and then Cigna is covering 90%. Now, perception wise, when deductibles go up, a lot of times people are like, oh, great, I got to pay more. The reality is that we get reports that show who have hit the deductible and out of pocket. For this company, it's around 2 to 3 people, and on average, it's around 15% of the workforce that hit their deductible and out of pocket. So even though with this change, the reality is 75 to 80% of you, it doesn't affect because you're mostly paying for costs below the deductible. As an important reminder, preventive care is covered 100%. There's no cost to you. So every year you have the entitlement to go get your preventive care, even blood, x-rays, including, classed under preventive care are covered 100%. Now, here's a little bit of a tip when you go in to see your primary care physician or your OBGYN for your preventive care. Make sure you tell them, I want this just as a preventive care. I don't want any refills. I don't want you to look at the mole that's on my back, because if they do that, it's changed in a code that will no longer be preventive. We hear this a lot from employees that they end up getting a bill. It's because it was changed once they refilled prescriptions. This also does include for you that are over, I believe now it's 45. If you need a colonoscopy, that if it's preventive, it's covered 100%. And those are a lot of fun too. So enjoy. Primary care physicians under the HSA, again, it's subject to deductible. Once you've hit the deductible, you will be responsible for 10%. Cigna pays 90%. Same with specialty. And again, it's a self-referral. You don't need any primary care referral to go see a specialist. Urgent care is 10% as well. Basic lab, 10% after deductible. Hospitalization or advanced imaging, 10% after the deductible is hit. And then emergency care, 10% after the deductible. Prescription medications, again, 10% after the deductible. For those that want a better plan for upfront costs, then the Local Plus choice is the route for you to go. If you have, 5 to 10 doctor visits and some prescriptions, and you know about a procedure, this may be a better choice for you. This is where you have a copay plan that the benefits are not subject to deductible. However, just as a reminder, you cannot contribute to an HSA or receive the employer contributions if you are in the choice plan, because this is not an IRS qualified HSA plan. On this choice plan, the deductible is $1,000. It did go up from $500, and then $2,000 for family. Out of pocket is $4,000, $8,000 for family. Preventive care, again, is covered 100%. If you go to the primary care doctor, it's a $20 copay. It's not subject to deductible. If you go to a specialist, it's a $30 copay, not subject to deductible. Urgent care, $30 copay. Basic lab and x-ray, you're covered 80%. You pay 20%, no deductible. If you are going in the hospital or have advanced imaging like an MRI or CAT scan, you will then be subject to deductible. After you've met that, it's an 80-20. Emergency room is $250 copay plus the 20% that you would have to pay. And in prescriptions, you have copays here now that are not subject to deductible. If you go to a tier 1, which is mostly generic, you pay a $10 copay. If you go to a preferred brand, it is a $50 copay. Non-preferred brand, the ones we see on TV, those are going to run you about $100. And then if you have a specialty medication that you're taking, which usually is an infusion, injection, that type of thing, you're going to be paying 50% of the cost. Okay, so those are the two plans to choose from. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat and we'll be looking at that. Just as a reminder, the Cigna network that we have is called Local Plus. Hopefully you're familiar with this network. Highly encourage you to always go into the provider search on mycigna.com or to call the number back on the back of the ID card to confirm that they are in the network. Just so you know, if you ask a provider, do you bill insurance or a Cigna, 95% of them are going to say yes, because they'll bill anybody. They don't really know what network you're on. So it is the responsibility of you to confirm that they are in the network. At a high level, the Local Plus includes all of the Peace Health and Legacy systems and also OHSU in Portland. So no Providence is covered under the Local Plus network.
What about Randall's?
Yeah, I'll address that in the chat in a minute here, but we'll talk about Randall's in the chat. So the next thing is the HSA. Just kind of a re-education, a little bit of a reminder here of what that is. If this is your first time choosing between the two plans, the HSA simply is a medical plan plus a bank account which equals a tax advantage medical plan. So all the contributions that you make are pre-tax. You save on quite a few taxes there. And then, of course, the contributions that pension plan specialist makes, it goes into the bank account and you can use that. It doesn't, you don't lose it. It rolls over and you can use those throughout the year for qualified expenses. And I'll go into a little more detail here on some other options you have with the HSA. As another reminder, you own this bank account. Pension plan specialist doesn't own it. So if you were to go, it goes with you. Also, nobody has access to this bank account. So keep that in mind. If you have questions about it, balances and things like that, you're really the only one that can find out the information. So going to HSA Bank directly is going to be your best opportunity there. Reminder again, it rolls over year to year, so you can build this up as you go. And in fact, HSAs are becoming the most popular medical plan because of an aging workforce that is getting close to retirement. This is really the only medical retirement plan that we have available is an HSA. You can use this in your retirement. In fact, you can do a one-time rollover to an IRA using your HSA funds. However, that is the point that it would become taxable. And I know I'm talking to people that are going to know that. So, and then again, the tax savings you save on federal income, FICA, Social Security, Medicare taxes, and in some cases, some state taxes. And you have the investment options as well. So we'll get to that in a minute. You can transfer some of your funds over to the investment options. So are you eligible for an HSA? It's always good to go through these because a lot of times a couple people throughout the year will find out, why am I getting a letter from the IRS that says I'm not eligible? So the first thing is, if you are enrolled in a different medical plan other than pension plan specialist, you cannot go on to the HSA. This has to be your plan to get the HSA contributions and to contribute. You cannot be claimed as a dependent on somebody else's tax return. So that's one that comes up quite a bit. And then what's coming up a lot right now as people are getting close to Medicare, when you hit 65, the government will automatically enroll you in Medicare unless you notify them that you don't want to be in Medicare. So if you're on an HSA and you're hitting 65, you do not want to enroll on Medicare. Because if you do, you just became ineligible for the HSA. So if you're in that bracket, pay attention to that because that could come up. As a reminder, though, if you do enroll in the HSA plan, you can use your HSA dollars to pay for expenses on your spouse's plan or any of your dependents. So the IRS has determined, yes, you're qualified for the HSA. You can get the contributions, but you can use those dollars for expenses that may occur from other plans in your household. Just as again, a reminder of the contribution limit. So 55 under 3850, 7,750 for the family. And if you're over 55, then you get 1,000. And again, here is the company's contributions. Another thing that comes up if you are a new hire and you come on, throughout, let's say it's in July, just so you know, your HSA contributions are prorated at that point. So you only can do half of the limit for that calendar year. And then in January, you can do the full amount. Just some examples of eligible expenses that you may have to pay for out of pocket. acupuncture, and chiropractic care. So if you're on the HSA, you're subject to deductible on those items. You can use your HSA money to pay for those. Massages would be another one that you can use. So co-insurance, deductible, physician fees, all of that, dental, orthodontia. I remember years ago with my kids having braces. I had an HSA. I was able to use my HSA dollars to pay for those. Eye exams, glasses, prescription sunglasses, all of those things can be used with your HSA dollars. There are a few over-the-counter items. COVID allowed us a huge list. It has changed again, so be sure to look at qualified expenses at mysigna.com to see what over-the-counter items you may use your HSA dollars with. So a couple other things to help you navigate. Pharmacy is becoming one of the highest costs of healthcare, and this is not going to change anytime soon. So we need to be aggressive on how to manage our pharmaceuticals as a consumer. The first thing we do encourage is to go to MyCigna. They have really good tools there. So if you've been prescribed a medication, you can go there and find out how much that medication will cost. Also, you'll be able to see if there is a generic equivalent that you could be taking that's a lot less to you. So they have a price medication tool that you can compare and decide what's best for you. If you are eligible for a 90-day supply, which is quite a few of the maintenance drugs, you can get a form there and have your physician fill it out, and it'll give you a 90-day supply sent to you. And that's at no cost. So definitely encourage you to do this, the 90-day supply. If you are taking a specialty drug, which is becoming more and more common with each group, Accredo is the name of the company that Cigna uses, just to make you familiar with that name. They are owned by Cigna, but Accredo will be handling all of the specialty pharmacy. And then something that I definitely like to tout is the GoodRx app. This is outside of the insurance, not affiliated with Cigna, but it's a good option to go to, especially if you're on the HSA. Many of you have probably already downloaded the app, but if you haven't, please do. A lot of times this app will beat the insurance discounts. So for example, if I have a prescription and I go into the app, I can put in my prescription and the dosage, and then it'll come up with about 5 or 6 pharmacies in my area and where it's the less cost on that prescription. So real easy to do. And the only thing you need to be aware of is if you use GoodRx, this will not count towards your deductible or out of pocket. There's no way for Cigna to track it. So just keep that in mind. If you use GoodRx, because it will beat insurance about half the time, it just won't accumulate towards your deductible and out of pocket. All right, dental. So we are remaining with Cigna for dental. And again, they have a huge dental network, and the maximum benefit, so you get up to $1,500 per person per year on what you can use towards the benefits. The deductible is $50 for an individual, $150 for the family. If you're going to do preventive, it's covered 100%, not subject to deductible. This includes your cleanings, x-rays, your basic coverage, which would be your fillings, that type of stuff, is 80% after the deductible. And then your major, which would include crowns, root canals, that type of thing, is going to be 50% after you've met your deductible. Vision is benefits are staying the same as well. There is a change, though, I do want to mention that's important, is that they have switched their network from VSP to IMED. IMED is now actually the #1 provider network for vision, so it's a little bit bigger than VSP. So hopefully there's no disruption there for you. I would say 99% of it's going to match up and maybe even give you some more choices. But just be aware of that has changed effect. That will be effective April 1st. Your exam is covered in full, no copay for you. Materials is also covered in full, and this is every 12 months, which is nice. Most are about every 2 years for materials, but yours is every year. There is a dollar amount maximum, so up to $150. And again, if you have the HSA and your glasses cost more, you can use HSA dollars once it's hit that $150. Obviously,
Sorry,
sorry.
Brandon, something to note on that is when you call to make your appointments, it's important to tell them that it's with IMED and not with Cigna. We've had a handful of people call and make appointments under Cigna, which it is, but it doesn't necessarily connect when they're billing. So we want to make sure that you guys really understand that it's actually through IMED via Cigna when you're making your appointments.
Thank you, Tiffany. Yeah, that is a good note to have. We've had a couple that have said, no, we don't have that, and they're actually in the network. So, okay, so I think finally I am done talking, and the fun person is now coming on. Mandy, are you there?
I'm here and I'm so excited. It's my turn. I thought it was never going to get here. I don't know. about you
I
guys.
took a while. I'm sorry. Yep, you're here.
No, but we have had a couple of questions in the chat, and I've gone back to those people, and hopefully they got what they needed. But I did want to let everybody know that I'll send the PowerPoint presentation to Tiffany after this meeting so that she can send it out to anyone who wants it, because these links are live and active, and it might be helpful if you want to look for vision providers on that IMED link that we had on the last slide, or some upcoming links that we have as well. So I just want to let that be known. Okay. So I'm going to talk about my Cigna. I think because you guys have been with Cigna for some time, you probably already have your own My Cigna accounts and you've registered. But if you have not, please do so. There's so many great resources that you can access at My Cigna. And one being a pretty important one is Cigna's going to the virtual ID card this year at 4/1. So kind of going away from sending each person an ID card. Yes, you can still get one if you call the customer service, and I'll kind of go over the one guide slide next. But I just want you to know that you can access your ID card right on your phone when you register at My Cigna. It'll have all your specific plan information and all your accumulators. The other question that was coming up too was, since our deductibles are changing, when does that start? It starts 4/1, but anything that you've already met with the deductible so far this calendar year is going to be coming over with you on the 4/1 start date. So you don't lose anything that's already been happening for you. So just wanted you to be aware of that. So you can also get the My Cigna app, and you can have it on your phone as well. And so we recommend that you do these things because it makes it a little easier to navigate through all the things. Okay, you can go to the next slide, which is virtual one guide. It's one guide. For a second, I thought it said virtual care. I apologize. So one guide is customer service. And I know that customer service gets a bad rap. And I want you to know that with us, you guys have preferred customer service. And when you call the number on the back of your card or customer service, you're going to get concierge type service. So if you do have questions specifically about, hey, I'm struggling to have provider access, I'm looking for a provider for this specific reason, and I cannot seem to get anybody, they will be able to help you through that. So I want to make sure that you use it as a resource. And again, this is who you would call customer service if you want your own ID card because you like to hold it in your hand. I get that. So that's how that works. And you will call 1-800-SIGNA24 and you can actually talk to somebody if you need some specific direction and help. Oh, that was kind of fancy. Virtual care. Now I'm going to talk about that. So we do like to promote virtual care because I know that sometimes it is hard to get in for an appointment. We're kind of noticing that we're hearing it from clients that are with Regents and Kaiser and Cigna and all the people. We are having a little bit of an access issue. So I want to make sure that you know about MD Live, and you can register for MD Live through My Cigna. So when you register at My Cigna and you create your account, you can easily get an appointment with a doctor, and it could be a primary care, it could be behavioral health, it could be urgent care, dermatology, a specialist, something like that. And so I want you to take advantage of this virtual visit anytime that you can. And just so that you know, the co-pays for these follows what your plan co-pays are. So if you're on the HSA plan, it's deductible first. So it's around $60 for a virtual visit. And if you're on the other choice plan which has the $1,000 deductible, it's going to match up with the office visit co-pays. So I want you to know that there are times that you cannot physically get in, you cannot get an appointment. This MD Live is a great resource for you, and I want to encourage everybody to use it anytime they can. Emotional well-being. This kind of goes along with some of the resources that Cigna provides. It acts as an EAP, an employee assistance program. You can find this through, guess what, mycigna.com. And so you can have access to counseling therapists, and you can do 3 face-to-face visits and set it up through this way. And then if you use one guide, if you want to continue on, then you can actually use your plan benefits to hopefully find this in-network provider that you can counsel with. So there's great resources here. And I just want to let everybody know that this is available to them. Excuse me. Okay, so this slide's pretty great, and I'm hoping that Brandon, you can just maybe click on that link. I don't know if it'll work for you with our screen situation that we're having. I did want to show you. I wanted to show you just an example of it, but this is a benefits education site. And again, our links are live, and so when you get the presentation, you'll maybe want to go through it. And it's okay if you can't do it, Brandon. So what it is you will be able to click there, and everything is specific to pension plan specialists. So you will see the current plans that are available. Then you will also, there's a tab that will show you the upcoming plans, the ones that are effective 4/1, the ones that we are reviewing right now. And you'll be able to find the SBCs there. Oh, look at that. This is what it looks like. If you click on the upcoming benefits and coverage right there, you can see what plans are available. And when you click on the specific medical, there's links there, and there's side-by-side comparisons. There's videos that you can watch, because this video might not be enough for you. You might need more, and I get it. I know you want more Cigna all the time. If you go to resources and programs tab, that is a really helpful resource where you can see all the things that we've talked about, the emotional well-being, they have different programs to help with prevention and other things, body and mind connection, and a rewards program where you could maybe get some discounts on some products. So I encourage you all to go to this. Again, we will provide the link to you. It's also in Employee Navigator. So when you go to Employee Navigator to sign up for all your benefits, under documents, it's a benefits education link that we've put in Employee Navigator for you to access as well. And all of that is specific to pension plan. And you can't enroll there at this website, but it is a great website if you want to access that. If you have spouse at home that's asking questions and you kind of can't remember, this would be a great tool to take them to.
All right. How'd I do, Mandy?
You were a really good Vanna.
Thank you.
Does anybody know who Vanna White is anymore? Okay, so we're getting there. We're getting there, I promise. The next one is, hold on, please, everyone. Vanna, thank you. So the next one is the FSA. This is a reminder, as Brandon mentioned before, it's one or the other for you. If you are someone that is enrolled in the Cigna high deductible health plan 5,000, that's an HSA qualified health plan, you would not enroll in the flexible spending account. So the FSA, the maximum this year is 3,050. That's the max you can contribute. And you can also use it kind of how Brandon mentioned with the HSA qualified expenses. You could also use it for massage or dental or extra expenses that are qualified health plan expenses. So that is what is happening. You can sign up for this in Employee Navigator. There's also a dependent care flexible spending account, and that is a maximum contribution of $5,000. And just so you know, if you have child under 13 that is in a daycare, you can use this to put through for tax-free. And I think I'm talking to people that know what they're doing with this. So I think you're probably smarter than I am on this. But just so you know, it's a resource for you, and you can sign up for it in Employee Navigator, and we'll talk about that in a minute. HSA Bank, thank you. So you all that are enrolled currently in the HSA plan have the HSA bank accounts already set up. If you choose to contribute to that additionally on top of what pension plan does, you can do that. As Brandon mentioned before, there are maximum limits that you can do annually, so you won't want to go over that amount. But to let you know, there's also options for you to invest your dollars that are in your HSA bank account. So again, these are self-directed investments. So you can log into your HSA bank account, and there's ways that you can invest in different funds. And you must have $1,000 in your HSA bank account to start the investment process. And so want to let you know this is an opportunity. I know for a fact that there are some people that have already done this and have received great returns on their investments. So we just kind of want to encourage you to take your HSA investments to the next level by actually walking through some steps, logging into your HSA account, and finding out what portfolio you want to do. If you go to the next slide, Brandon. This is just letting you know of the different portfolio fund options. I can't really speak specifically to these, but there are ways, easy planning tools that are available to you. There's performance reviews that you can access. There's history that you can access. So again, this would be a great thing for you to look into and put some of your dollars to work for you.
Well, and just to add, it's TD Ameritrade. So there's thousands and thousands of options. If people have been inside TD Ameritrade, they know that obviously it's got access to all the stocks and index funds and mutual funds that you can put your money into.
And something to note about this, everyone, remember that with our relationship with our financial advisor, he will talk to anybody about anything that has a dollar amount in front of it. So if it's got a dollar sign, he will help guide you. And so feel free to let me know if I can help you coordinate some time with Jed to chat about this or anything else.
It's a good resource.
Perfect.
All right, Mandy, we're down to Employee Navigator.
And Colonial will come on the back end, but I'm going to go through the Navigator and we'll do it pretty quickly because I think you're somewhat familiar of the benefits platform that has been set up for you. And this is so we can eliminate the paperwork. You don't have to track down paperwork and go through the things, but I do need to make this clear. Every single person that is eligible for these benefits needs to log in and either enroll in a plan or waive a plan. And it's really important also with the HSA investments, contributions, if you wish to make those. It's also really important with a flexible spending account. You have to elect that annually. Nothing is going to roll over. We can't just assume that just because you did 500 in your FSA last year, you're going to do it this year. So that's why it's pretty important to do that. I want to just let you know how the process is going to go. If you go to the next slide, Brandon. You will receive an email. We're going to send it out at noon today, Pacific Standard Time. And we will send that out and it'll come to your email that you have on file in Employee Navigator. I believe they're the work emails. Tiffany maybe could correct me, but I think that's correct. The email is going to come from Employee Navigator. So it doesn't come from CapFi, it doesn't come from Tiffany. So I kind of want to make you aware that that's what's coming. So in that email, you will click on there. There is a link that will take you to Employee Navigator. If you've already logged into Employee Navigator, it'll say, welcome back, here we go. It'll ask for username and password. If you can't remember it, you could always ask to reset that password. I've forgotten mine before. I just wanted to, just be perfectly transparent with you. I sometimes forget my password, so you're not alone. So what you'll do is you'll walk step by step. If you go to the next slide, Brandon, it'll do an onboarding where you'll just make sure your address is correct in the system, make sure your date of birth. If you're adding dependents, we need that information in there. Everything needs to be accurate. So we just would love for you to review that piece. Then you can start the enrollment, and it's going to go step by step. It's going to show you the medical plan options. There's resources, SBCs will be loaded into the system so you can actually compare side by side. Wait, what plan works for me? What plan doesn't? If you want to play, you guys get paid 100, the cost is paid 100%. So you don't need to play around with if you add somebody or don't, but that's a great resource.
Only on dental, they can.
Only on dental. Yeah. If you want to know, the cost for just you and a spouse, or you and all the children and a spouse, or whatever, you can it'll show you who's electing the coverage. So you'll walk through each benefit, either waiving it or electing it. You have to save and continue at the bottom of each page. That's pretty important. And then at the end, it'll give you a little summary of what you're enrolled in. Congratulations. There'll be some clapping probably, and a little confetti that goes out, and you've completed enrollment. I do want to let you know that the plans are effective April 1st, the new plans. And so it's a tight turnaround, but it should be pretty seamless with Employee Navigator. You should be able to just click right through. It's a lot like an Amazon experience. And so we encourage everybody to get in there and do that. And the close date will be, I think it was the 27th. And so we really want everyone to go in there, even if you're just like, I'm just going to be on the HSA plan still. We have to have you re-elect that plan because the coverage is changing a bit. And so we want to make sure that you're acknowledging that I know that this is changing and here I go. So that's what I know, Brandon.
All right. So I have been answering the questions in the chat. I think we are caught up there. As a reminder, a few more minutes here. If you have any questions, please ask. But now I am going to.
I do have a quick question.
Okay.
I don't know if it really applies to everyone, but and maybe there's something that I'll just touch base. I know OHSU is listed as in-network on MyCigna, but they have billed it as out-of-network on the EOB. So just there's some providers at OHSU that are not in-network. So, and this is just go to the MyCigna and look up the provider. Heads up to everyone through experience, and they're working it out and whatnot, I do believe, but just a heads up that that's a little hiccup.
Yeah, thanks, Autumn. I think you and I talked about this a few months ago, and that is a good point, that sometimes a particular surgeon or physician specialist can be associated with a different practice and go over to a hospital that they're not necessarily under that hospital. And I think that's what can happen. But OHSU is trying to figure that out. And that's where that did come up. So thank you.
For the cards, when are the new cards available online?
They'll be available on 4/1. Hopefully we have all the information from Employee Navigator to give to Cigna, because we do have to update them with all the enrollment, and that sometimes can lag a minute. So 5 days after would be probably worst case scenario, but Cigna's really great at that. So if we do our part and get all the enrollment done, then usually by the 1st, you would be able to access that.
Okay, and then going back to the question about having to print the cards, Autumn asked the question, but I need to get a better answer. My doctor's office requires giving them the card to scan it. So what are we gonna do with a paper copy?
Well, no, so you can
They don't
still
scan 'em.
you can
Yeah.
still request an ID card. So when I
Okay.
was talking about One Guide and I was talking about customer service, you can call that number and you can request an ID card, but they're just not going to send them out to the entire population going
Okay.
forward because it's a virtual
Okay,
card.
got it.
Yeah, and just so you know, they don't usually scan ID cards. They just write down the group number, policy, and member number, and then call for verification. So you can bring a printed copy of an ID card to them.
Actually, Brandon, sorry to interrupt. I just went to Vancouver Clinic and they required to scan it. They asked me every month to
Yeah.
scan
Your
my
first
copy.
problem was going to Vancouver Clinic.
Well, that's where a lot of us go.
I know, believe me, my family goes there, but yes, Vancouver Clinic has their particular things, and that is one of them, but most providers will take a printed copy.
I'm pretty sure you can upload a picture of your ID card to Vancouver Clinic on your portal. You actually don't have to bring and scan the card.
Good suggestion. All right, we've got a few minutes here. If you have any other questions, feel free to use the chat, but I'm going to turn the time over to Margaret. Margaret, are you there? Oh,
I am. Can you hear me?
yeah, we can see your screen too. Good job.
Oh, I know how to use technology, Brandon.
Oh, ooh, that hurts.
I will be quick. Thank you for giving me some time. I'm just going to go on a 30,000 foot level about the colonial benefits that are offered there. And you are available to self-enroll in those plans. And I'm going to give you a way at the end of the presentation. If you'd like to have Stephanie go with you through all the colonial plans or all the plans, she's available. Some of you new hires have met with Stephanie, or you may have last year when Colonial was introduced, met with Stephanie as well. So you're familiar with it. But let me just talk a little bit about why they're voluntary benefits, because you guys have such a rich benefit package. Sometimes the biggest question I get is, why are there even these other plans offered? And the reason is there's a lot of other expenses that your medical plans were never designed to cover, that you would have to come up with monies for if the worst case scenario happened to you or someone in your family. Those things can be that co-insurance and co-payments, an HSA plan, you are funded part of it. But if you, at the time something happened to you, you didn't have enough money in your HSA to pay some of those expenses, you'd have to come up with monies to pay for those, or lost wages, or other household bills that keep coming in. And you have no means to pay some of those, or travel expenses to treatment. Maybe you're going someplace else for the treatment and you're just not sure how you're going to pay for those. People can use their credit cards, their savings accounts. There's a lot of crowdsourcing now, GoFundMe. You guys are in the pension plan business, so you know really going to retirement accounts is very tricky because of all of the penalties and the taxes and such. So that's why voluntary benefits are there. It gives another resource to you to create a financial safety net for you and your family. What is available to you are disability insurance, accident, critical illness, and life insurance. Kind of a different way for you to pick and choose and customize your benefit package. That's why we offer so many different plans. Everybody is different. And by no means do we offer this many plans for people to become insurance poor. We do it so that you can pick those plans that fit for the concerns and the risks that you feel your family is under. The first one is short-term disability. And it says short-term just because our plan isn't a long-term, a true long-term disability. But this plan is designed to dovetail into the Washington PMFL. So you guys are covered under that plan that the state of Washington has. If you want benefits that can go beyond that, in case you exhaust it and you need to still be off of work by your doctor's orders, you can get a disability plan with Colonial that will pay beyond those benefits at Washington PMFL. And so that's the first 90 days are not covered under this plan. It would be on the back end of it after 90 days. And so the cost of it just depends on what percentage of your income you want covered and how long you want it to pay out, because it can provide benefits for up to 12 months or 24 months and that. Typical things that are covered under disability insurance: back and joint disorders, accidents, illnesses that take you off of work, all kinds of things that are covered under disability, because it's the number one question that I get is what does it cover? It's easier to tell you what's not covered than it is to tell you what's covered, because there's so many things that are covered under that plan. But know that if you do want a little extra safety in that disability after that Washington state plan, you would want to pick up a Colonial plan. Again, the rates and the plan designs are right on Employee Navigator. So you can get a quote right out there on that system.
Margaret, I got a quick question.
You bet.
On the disability, what is the pre-existing condition timeline on that benefit?
Great question. So the pre-existing condition clause in this plan states that if you have been treated for, taken medication for, or sought treatment or advice for a condition 12 months prior to your effective date. So your plan effective dates for this open enrollment is 4/1. There is a 12-month look back on anything that you've been treated for, and they're not covered for the first 12 months of the policy. So they'll look back from April 1st of 2022, and they'll say what has been you've been treated, taken medications for, sought advice for, and those conditions are not covered from April 1st, 2023 to March 31st, 2024. Anything else would be covered. So, and it's not a rolling. So you can continue to have treatment and all of that for your condition after getting the policy. Just know it's not covered in the first 12 months, and thereafter it would be, even though you've still gotten treatment in that first 12 months. Good question. The next plan is an accident plan, and the disability insurance covers sickness and accident. And so it can be confusing as to what is an accident plan. Well, an accident plan pays benefits for hospitals and services that are used due to an incident, an accident happening to you or someone in your family. This is a great plan if you have kids. I have a 17-year-old. I have him on this. I have an HSA. And so I continually fund it, but I do know that there could be a time that something happens. And with him being out there, he goes and plays football every Saturday with his buddies and that. I may be short in what I have in my HSA. So I have him covered under an accident plan because I think that's where my risk exposure is with him. And so if something happens to him, I can send Colonial a copy of the bills and they will send me money directly and that. So it's a great thing if you have kids, if you're very active in your life, hike and bike and do all those things we do here in the Pacific Northwest, and you think that's where your risk is and that's where your financial exposure is going to be, you want to look at an accident plan. A quick example, I'm going to keep moving because I'm aware of the time and that you guys need to get back to work. This is Olivia, and she was in a car accident. She faxed Colonial a copy of her bills. Again, Colonial doesn't care what her medical provider paid or any other insurance. It doesn't coordinate. They just want to see what happened to you. And it's a lump sum benefits that's paid out for all of these different things that happened: ambulance, x-ray, surgery. Over $6,400 was paid directly to Olivia, and then she could use that money as she saw fit. So that's the way it creates that financial safety net for you and your family. And an accident plan is about 20 bucks a month, so not hugely expensive. If you're someone who's not concerned about an accident, but you're concerned with being exposed to out-of-pocket expenses based on critical illness, because what you eat, drink, and chew, you feel that you have more of a risk of that, then we do have our critical illness plan that pays a lump sum benefit out, again, directly to you, so you could use the money as you see fit. I've seen stroke victims who've had our plan use the money to modify their homes because that's an expense that medical insurance is not designed to cover, and they needed to put railings in or widen doors, and so they've used the money that have come out of a critical illness plan to help pay for those. I've also seen it used for home health care. and that they didn't have any other means to pay for somebody to come in while they were getting better. Again, the money is paid directly to you, and you can use the money as you see fit. The cost of critical illness insurance is based on your age and your tobacco use and the face amount. So again, you have to get a quote. I couldn't tell you just generally how much it is. And then we offer life insurance, and it's term life. So there's no cash value in it. So you're just paying the premiums that's going to provide a benefit to your beneficiaries if something happens to you. The amount of life insurance you need is that amount that just financially replaces you in the household. I know a lot of people will try and get life insurance to leave their families something. Those are really your assets. And again, I know I'm probably preaching to the choir here about how you provide assets to people as an inheritance. Life insurance just isn't one of those things, in my opinion, to do that with. I do want to point out that there is an EAP attached to our life insurance. So you guys may have an EAP, but this is additional EAP coverage if you're on this plan that you can get, and some life planning services as well. So how do you enroll? As I've been seeing along the way here, everything is out on Employee Navigator. If you would like some extra help, or you would like someone to walk you through all of Employee Navigator and all of the plans. So our benefit counselor has all the information on your new Cigna plans and that, and she is able to walk through those summaries with you. Stephanie would be more than happy to do it. The QR code that you see there under the red arrow, if you highlight that with your phone's camera, it will take you out to our Calendly link for you to schedule an appointment directly onto Stephanie's calendar. And that, so, and we will get that out to you if you aren't able to get your phone right up there right now. We'll get that link out to you. But Stephanie would be more than happy to take you through all of that and even answer specific questions on the Colonial Plan. So maybe this conversation here led to some more questions, and she'd be more than happy to help you. Brandon, is there anything else in the chat for me?
There is just a clarification. If you have access to that, Margaret, if you want to answer.
Okay,
it.
You betcha. Thank you so much. I'll turn it back to you, Brandon.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Margaret. And thanks to everyone for your time. I know we went a little bit over. Sorry about the technological issues, but hey, don't forget March Madness, first 5 drawing for $75 gift card, and that's going to be ready here in the next few days.
And I'll say one more thing too. I will make sure I include the Colonial PowerPoint that Margaret gave when I send Tiffany ours so that everybody would have access and if they want to scan that code.
All right. Autumn, you had a question.
I think Tiffany addressed it. Are you the one that would also be with guiding us with that established opt-out thing of the long-term care life insurance stuff?
Long-term disability or long-term care?
Long-term care.
Unfortunately, we are not. That is the state. Or Tiffany, do you still have the private policy?
We do.
Okay,
We do.
all
For
right.
anyone that signed up for it previously, nobody new can unfortunately sign up for it. And that right now is slated to go into effect 7/1, but I feel like I've heard this a few times before, so we'll see if it actually happens. Keeps getting kind of pushed down the road.
It does, yeah. All
Thank
right,
you guys
everybody.
so much.
You bet. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.